Gilg J as Gilg Nerach.
Bavaliam Jewish Altachergus and Claare Shaw, Claare Gael. My name is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert the Carslach.
Did the ever hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
This programme, Claare Gael, is bilingual because in it you'll hear part of it in the English language, as Nishu Clash and Pertelia Gisachilg, and you'll hear another part of it in the Manx Gaelic, Chinian Amera, the mother tongue of Ellen Vanning, the Isle of Man. As Bannacht and Durish. After a meal and accommodation in Castletown overnight, we're all set for the second day of our excursions, led by the Rev Thomas Stephen, through his 1832 publication, A Poetical Guide to the Isle of Man. To Mina Murray, ang edan skriwen was a cara Lucy Westenra, as te ginchgi de veli ang edan 3 year in refusa an unlay. And here there vain fairly John Seward to Stuart Tai Benrich, as nish to na chit vai American Quincy P Morris. Now the midsummer is associated with Manannan, and so we'll start with SKEEAL and 2 songs that refer to Manannan. Tashu geestjachrish radio vanning stashu den ashun, viskol skeliena was stulish, Ellen Vanning.
leger, sai foke mola faru. Koi tan ri Manannan te kasche leger mola faru. Koi tan ri Manannan te kasche leger mola faru.
Quai ten ri Manannan ta Castletown mullach Barrule, and Manannan beg Macaleer, two songs about Manannan performed by SKEEAL, and the midsummer is the period, the time, one of the times, very closely associated with Manannan. The Reverend Stephen's advice to us before we retired was, be temperate to be early up. Compose yourself and go to sleep, and rise next morning at the peep of day. The earlier you go, the more you'll see, the more you'll know. And so the morning has dawned. Now, yoke your quadrupeds, and off to Pyle. Well, the city of Peel takes its name in English from what was originally a wooden fortification made of piles. Now, piles are great tree trunks driven into the ground, and of course we get the name of that implement, the pile driver, used to drive great piles into the ground. And this was timber originally that King Magnus Barefoot had ordered the men of Galloway to bring down to the Scottish shore so that it could be brought over to the island where there wasn't any timber to speak of, and so use that to build 3 pile forts here in the island. One would have been on St Patrick's Isle, another, as we heard last time, Cronkhow Moor, Fairy Hill in Balafesson. The third may have been Castle Ward in Braddon, but nobody's quite sure about that. As nes Shaw Quincy P Morris Lautrish Lucy Westenra, Sanachta Lucy Corcunta Jane Chusta Mina Murray on Skriwen. As to Quincy P Morris Grairish Lucy, Hadjinum and Blas Americanach. In a Lucy, ta fissem na vel mi maideloer de rege yielende vregen begge. Ach, verin cheber, de jinnach u furcht en derre tau fedden dunje gemaie shen, de jinnach u chit de we, kom reg den a shach mrein ege shen lesh na lampen, tre tau square vai. Nach jinnu a kjanle de strien en jormpien, as ligden gul schiese red jouwer koejach, as shingen gimman roin voor greines doebel. Wel, vei jien de vei ons gin gemaai as geginnel, na rau jien de vei liege dolly de avole, as vei leshen fairly Seward baag. Maar so doort me, go edrum as dat me. Na rau weg de fissem strien as na rau mi bris on greines se chorer vos. Esh, George de raue lord ons acht edrum. Now here's a jolly song about a large gentleman from Bala. He rode on a thin black horse. What turned out to be really thin in the end was a wooden bridge which broke under him and the horse, and he fell into the river over his head. Bonheddwr mawr or Bala.
Bonheddwr mawr or Bala, ryw ddiwrnod aeth I hela, ar gaseg denau di, ar gaseg denau di. Ha 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 ha, ar gaseg denau di. Lam oedd yr hyn gaseg o nawr gloch tan ddyddig, heb unwaith god I bri, heb unwaith god I bryd, ha 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 ha, heb unwaith god I bryd.
O'r diwedd god o lwyn o gynnyl ti cymydog a'r cornor oedd o floedd,
A'r cornor oedd o floedd, ha 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 ha, a'r cornor oedd o floedd. Yr holl fytheidred a hasant, a'r llwyn o cochal ia hasant, ond cyr yw ffarmwr oedd, ond cyr yw ffarmwr oedd, ha 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 ha, ond cyr yw ffarmwr oedd.
Wrth fynd yn ôl o'r hela, daeth y bod meddwr tila I groesi hen fo'n bren,
I groesi hen fo bren, ha 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 ha, I groesi hen fo bren. Ond chanau hyn a chwaneg, fe syrthiodd efo'i gaseg i'r afon dros ei ben, i'r afon dros ei ben, ha 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 ha, i'r afon dros ei ben.
Plethin, with a pleasantly silly song from Wales, Bonheddwr mawr o'r Bala, a large gentleman from Bala. Ysterawi tres Gael, my fy marn ys ginteg ons gynno sien eg trech o trom chwsiach ys chwsgan sioel a hon, dy gynnin lai desen. Ons riechid fe gyn trom chwsiach tref e greisien, as charawn jaar mer ach de ennachten beggen trom chwsiach nies. Ta fissem wiener, de gynno smunjen arm, mor flid aglach, ach charawn jaartem ons gennachten sorste vogus, der a weshen irugis en onlei. As esch me wien, rosh mer au ked au greif vogel, gauw e toiach der deerte maag sledden tulju de graai, as korshis a chri hien as an anemege eg me gathen. Ve gien go gien me gewoon egge, nach ginnum smunjen arach rish, terwijl dunje gin aureste kinjach gamanach. Gin riu ve gien. No inrichen terwijl I bog oil na keerten. Tammy shielden de vakke riddenach ons meedin ren korstapersen. No de renny square vai, dal tajem. And we're en route from Castletown to see the fortification, the peel which gives its name to the settlement. Your road is good through mountainous. Your road is good, though mountainous. A mile of level road leads on to Kirkmaloo, while all along you take a sidelong view. Well, he's perhaps overlooked the fact that he walked us out this way whilst we were waiting for midday repast on our first day. A little onward, limestone kilns in flame attract attention, for they have a name both north and south. Well, the area around Castletown is, of course, the area where limestone is found, so where there were kilns here to prepare it for agricultural use. But there are lime kilns in many parts of the island. Limestone would be shipped to them and then prepared closer to where it was going to be used. Agriculture is uppermost in Rev Stephen's thoughts here, not just for the limestone, though. Hence, carts from all parts draw manure for corn for men, for cattle, straw. But now we have to concentrate on the road ahead. The Skymasters Dance Orchestra and their version of The Rose of Tralee. Siodiw stasiwn yn asiwn radio fanim, as yn sio tasiw geisiach rys Claare na Gael. She Robert Cutting Carslmish, Robert a Carslach.
Have you ever had tell of old Bobby Bob?
Not far past Kirkmaloo and the Cross Four Ways, the road starts to climb. We reach that road which is good, though mountainous. The steep ascent your able horses climb with panting breath, hard pull and active limb. When on Barrule arrived, turn round and view a scene extensive, beautiful and new. Now, forward drive, the easy ride enjoy, while you were born between the earth and sky. On a smooth road of granite white, well laid, macadamized and firm and convex made. Well, John Loudon Macadam, 1756 to 1836, was a Scottish civil engineer and road engineer. He used crushed stone bound together with gravel on a firm base of large stones, and he made the road with a camber, giving it that convex appearance to make sure rainwater would quickly drain off the road, rather than being left to lie standing on it. To lie standing? Can you lie standing? Can you standing? Well, anyway, left on the road and then draining down into the road and damaging the foundations ultimately. But in fact, this had only become well known from about 1816 onwards. So for this Manx road to be macadamized and firm and convex made by 1832 is really in its way bang up to date. As dúirte le sorsta Gina dun giaull as Oda grair ve Emerson son shen de Biden ve ser, Lucy she neen as criona head ta fissem. Cha Biden dun shaw lotruts an ach tammy nish, manna raumi krell de ne stu onos cart chruj gus dunid an anamed. Instau, mar vrod cumreg de fer elia, vel pech elia, as te elia eder. As ma vis, cha gin an bora o darach wish as liedr an egg. Ach bim, ma vis u lawel dawe, da chara vier firniach. Vina ma veen, crein fair, ta daniach o wuzzle chouds na vel shingen nam rein, din tol you. As mish bunus gin o gammon jane dun you ser dui moe chriach shaw. Hotch me Kenya. Straliam Graham a veen, de wie smunny in de vel shaw na skriw en vis fudder gelje on immer die achten. As van me de vier genachten, go trimshach. Crein fair na vel het ligge de nien poekse 3 dania. Well, Brenda Wootton celebrates the land she loves now with a song by Richard Gendel.
I never thought before how much my country belonged to me, till I had gone many miles from my home by the sea. Hedges aflame with ferns, little white CORMACK a foot of a cairn, you belong to me, Cornwall, the land I love. Kindred is strong, this is where I belong, in the land I love. When I return to home, people all stop and they say to me, hello my dear, so you're back home again. And I'd be so proud to see the town, clock tower, planet and market and quay all belong to me, Cornwall, the land I love. Kindred is strong, this is where I belong, in the land I love. I know a sheltered cove, mussels on rocks and deep shrimping pools, pebbles and stones fit to fill up your pockets so full. I know a scented hill where the sheep browse on the sweet clover flowers that belong to me. Cornwall, the land I love. Kindred is strong, this is where I belong, in the land I love. Down by the singing stream, mellow grape ridge where the boys all fish, woodpecker calling so clear from the wood on the ridge, yellow and white and blue, spangle the hedge every springtime and new, and belong to me. Cornwall, the land I love. Kindred is strong, this is where I belong, in the land I love. I never thought before how much my country belongs to me, till I had gone many miles from my home by the sea. Hedges aflame with ferns, a little white farm at the foot of the Carn, you belong to me. Cornwall, the land I love. Kindred is strong, this is where I belong, in the land I love. Cornwall, 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 the land.
Richard Gendel's song Cornwall, the Land I Love, performed by Brenda Wootton. Na chwilín as tad da gíri, as córsha ulliú an bhar is seo. Ach, mi chredu vis seo, as sain thou gin greia. Smile am grey, ge drau mi Kenya, drau mi able de yin cart on Sulian Dunnel Manche Morris, as dinch mi de de girach. Te, ta pech enjach as de graia mer. Gen a vel a ninch dau fors eer de veli graia orm. Va mi cart de Lord Rischen gefauslich, no de denk solis de loers en eddenegge. As hine mache galau as gawe malauwens, wel jam de dug mi het stjach ons na lauwen egge, as doortje ons acrioil, shen me nien dena. Sfew na smooth aanmach, les kede de gasne, na vei ons treis on nien erbielius a tail. Na gin kenje me wien, me wisse me hons, she ge kraimish de vrisje, as tammy goile as mish me jadu. Gameleshel, me wisse me hons, she crow kraimish de vrisje, as tammy goile as mish me jadu. Man a velen fair elish en tickle and man der segge, well. Drive on at length until at level end your vehicle commences to descend. Here a wide scene of hill and dale salutes your eye, while on the willing wheel volutes beneath in vale mid rugged rubbish see the evolutions of machinery, up the long glen as far as kens the eye. Mines of lead ore do many a wretch supply with hard-earned provender from the cold earth, which gives to greedy mammon sordid birth. Well, this is Foxdale and its mines, of course. Move deftly forward. On the left you'll see a cataract descend all silvery. Well, this will be at Lower Foxdale, I think the waterfall at Balanas, the farm of the waterfall. Now, this Manx word for a waterfall will have derived, I think, from the Scandinavian form which we find in the name, well, anglicised as Foxdale, but the colloquial is more accurate here, Foxdale, the Dale of the Force, the word for a waterfall, Force. And there's a famous waterfall in County Durham which is called High Force, I think it's on the Tees. And the Balanas waterfall that we've observed as we go past is actually hidden now behind the houses. Well, this is a song dating from 1887, when Mary Warren and Oran, Big Mary of the songs, that's Mary Macpherson, celebrated winning the right to graze cattle on Ben Lee on the Isle of Skye. This is a song called Oran Ben Lee, the Song of Ben Lee, sung by Skyman Arthur Cormack.
Could it be anach glehatjes getwahanig baltisch bei tu sounds wachtel snach der wichtigsten Strie Hoeke pianach kuparnel hoeke voyeren taten Chors nach eichgert kubrache chinerarin nechi Door de hanike hier, door de slechte dainjale voorjalig, goede koikner en jaring, aan een kriagen bij je lief. Ga je een kjulan, lich na heindes en glassigen kantjer, schan je een koewach na neitjen, sla hem faunes bij je lief. Is nem nahen behoort gespoevogere glosset, ga je een kwijk in je spoortje, gaan een brogen bij je lief. Sket van schalig ne oeves, hoe de roges en loget, les lachen en trogen, ga door je bij je lief. Sket en kuljan is glamek, misknem bjaunten is alje, ga vi njechtri jere fakel, ach ik saltjen bij je lief. Ook of tijgen en windje, afarialig ne boundary, rijden luigen je gaat je angvalt, stach keilsjen je bij je lief.
Arthur Cormack, Oran Ben Lee, Mary Macpherson's song. And now you leave the dale and travel on until you see the chapel of St. John, with bells, 2 painted, and a tinkling one. Well, you can see this chapel of St. John in paintings by the likes of John Warwick Smith, but it was replaced, this church, by the current church building in 1849. Here, Tynwald Hill attracts your transient glance, with veneration to the ground advance. Here are the laws promulged, behold that mound which oft has been with jurisprudence crowned, of sage grave senators, who in a row from the 3 bells up the great green platform go, but this to see, attend when a new law is thence promulgated without a flaw. And it's still a requirement for laws to be promulgated from Tynwald Hill. At one time, laws would be promulgated as they were made in ad hoc meetings of Tynwald at the Hill. These days it's become once a year, which will be, of course, next Tuesday. But if the laws are not duly promulgated, a week on Tuesday, that is, if the laws are not duly promulgated from Tynwald Hill within 18 months of being made, they cease to have effect. Signed there cor Gael de Lia, na bia ersen cor rumseen. Nien veg. Ten onid dus een tunnel said an yenu jim de chara, a stjarke shen na graida. Smoon jou zondag ik een goed sloe. Me veen, be kosjach verdenach de loer em vai shogus en tail rechiet, na jinu cordau unfeg, be riddenach de rail soel en dorges eisjes nish. Te kieded hou tiggle, want hou gierie, no na vel en dunje mai elje shen, as geen oude stenen won je mai beveen, as na won je brau, non a gewodde gus cor graaier, lotroos. Ren shen the jaru costna armvina, no the rawe dunnel as millishega, as wushel, nies spenten de brer suri, rawe, as echo try. Ma so ren mi kroma I as feg mia. Hiasi sus lesh me Gael lau ons na lau en egge, chaus ve gian nus ma edin. Strailiam grey, the rau mi jurgach at the moor. Vange and Ewan Landreau, with the tune written by the fiddle-playing brother there, Vange, for a Breton dance, a Ronde de Loudéag. Stasiwn ar asiwn ta radio fannin, as cartnes sé Claare na Gael viscolar skilliena Merenpeen, Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Have I heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
A stoorte. Nien veg. Tammy kummel de lau, as taue chor peg dau. As manna wel na ridden shaw gin o kurgin gin, a gin veg arach. Gur a myed son a non it millished, a sledned. Chrea me lau, gawi nis an edegge, as haie de girach magas en chamber. Gin gian na chulu, gin jer, na crea, na leester. As tammy ko gurish baban. Oh, crane fair wel fame dunje gurish shen ve gin trimshach. Tijd de immedi nien on jenach woeslige eer en tallo ve shul. Te vissems de ginnens, de rau mi ser. Ach, anel mi giri ve ser, man nien, ren shaw cor mi ass. As tammy gennachten na vodum skriw mechon manres kaartnish, look dau instut mechon. As genel mi giri instut mechon iru tree, der a vodum ve manre de bollach. De brech lesh grai, Lucy. Here, why delay? All your fine views are o'er, unless you see the beautiful Glen Moor, which lies beyond upon the river's side, whose stream flows westward rapidly and wide. Take then the road to Peel upon the left, nor grudge that nor grudge that you of prospects are bereft. The prettiest slope of Highland scenes survey along the hills upon St. Patrick's Way. There flows the river, straying serpentine, through a green-wooded, varied country fine. Afar, the Monument of Wives you see, erected as a landmark o'er the sea. Now he has a note about what he calls the Monument of Wives. A castellated edifice, erected by Mr. Corrin of Knockalo, in honour of his deceased wife, whose tomb lies in a cemetery near its base. Well, Thomas Corrin built the tower in 1806 in memory of his wife Alice, who died that year in childbirth, and the child with her, in fact. Thomas Corrin was a dissenter who didn't want to be buried in the ground of the established church, although there are differing stories about his burial, whether he's up there, whether he was somewhere else, and whether the church had a hand in it in the end. Anyway, we won't go into those right now. In Brittany a few years ago, a Manx dance group took part in a festival which also included some Native Americans. We had to walk along the street behind their blooming horses, I'll tell you. As it's round about the midsummer, this is a sun dance performed by members of the Apache, a tribe in one of the Athabascan languages, possibly Chiricahua. I say this with all the conceit of someone who's looked it up on Wikipedia and knows nothing of what he's talking about. Anyway, if anyone knows these languages, I'm afraid I don't. Possibly this is Chiricahua, possibly it's not. A sundance performed by members of the Apache people, or sundance, as we're round about midsummer, and we're celebrating, of course we'll be celebrating by the old style calendar with the 5th of July, which is 24th of June, the old midsummer. So that'll be coming up in about a week's time. And that was a sundance, as I say, by the Apache people. The Apaches lived in... they weren't in tribes particularly, they were in extended families, and so it often happened that one extended family was trading and being friendly with one lot of people, but other Apache peoples weren't. They were perhaps opposed to them in some way, so you could never be sure what their approach was going to be, because they were so separate. They weren't a tribe per se, they were a lot of separate extended families. Anyway, enough of the Apaches. And now you come to Peel. Turn and look down upon an ancient but deserted town, deserted by the commerce of the rest. This once fair ornament of Mona West. Well, in fact, Sir George Moore had wanted to build Peel up as a commercial port, but was opposed by the merchants of Douglas, whom he disliked intensely, of course. Well, back to the Reverend Stephen's description of Peel. Its castle ruins still invite the wise, for there earth's glory in vile ruin lies. Here stands the pile upon the solid stone, where once a holy prelate held his throne. Mona's cathedral, towers and churches too, within these walls, where howled the mawr the dew. The trade appeal is cod and haddock fry, and of fat herrings there's a large supply. The inhabitants are near 2,000 souls, for whom the clear-toned bell of German tolls. Well, I fear that this may be romantic. St. German's Cathedral was ruinous, and the church used for both Kirk German and Kirkpatrick at that time was St. Peter's in the marketplace. P.S. Oh, benten de iru 3. Gen el fe mer instut mechoon iru 3 wel? Mer is shen ve gien de ve gefotte gilje. Ve gien ach shalit vai en treir en irashen en shema, derven der raiege me gietemoom, as ve de me fege. Ta mi 4 eer wanre, as gesemmes na ter we gintem de heiltjen, eh? Ha nodden me cor eebse treire giet, de heiltje gemaag, na wel mi jou wissel de G's on uljuwe bias dou, ons cor dou liede graide, lieden dunje shesje, as lied de gare. Sled ned. As nish tashin chitkus G-lan en fairly Seward, erne rail ons phonograph. En weggle is feed me walden. Moer grijs of V&B Jew, gaan nodden me, gaan nodden goilash, maar so, G-lan ons in het J-shen. Neres ren me sorrens flout, J, te soorts de enjachten volle mem. Vegs a tail Jean de ve J scanch de lure, de ve few ginnel. Well, we return to Manannan now. At least we will, if Greg Jochen is successful as he goes in search of Manannan.
Leave the baby in his cot and leave your bread and beer. Leave your warm and tender touch and all that you hold dear. Hey ho, leave your home, it's time to go and leave the baby in his cot. Leave your bread and beer. And take me to the mountain through the mist and failing light. Take a staff and lantern with us deep into the night. Hey ho, take the road and let's now go and take me to the mountain in the mist and failing light. Seeking down the deepest well and out across the moor. Seeking where the savage cliff touches to the shore. Hey ho, seeking high and seeking low. Seeking down the deepest well and out across the moor. We came at length upon Barrule, where carved into the slate appeared a mighty fortress that was sealed with golden gates. Hey ho, can you let me know, is the master home? We came upon a fortress sealed with golden gates. Across the fury fills the air, a blinding flash of light, and as the gate the moon, a giant voice calls in the night. Who is it that broke my sleep? And who that has no fear? And who that dares to lead the way before? Manannan MacLean.
Greg Jochen and Barrule in search of Manannan. No draw fissem den avert en ongaurs on een lid shaw, hai mi schies maast na surrency. Ren mi rai fairjou te chordau kes on studeres vir een esach. Ho ach te de wel mi saitjer tiggelech om maies tam mi able. Jew ve jean de ren mi carsen na snether day de riu, de cree and foliach egger. And so the Rev Thomas describes the area. Along the shores are caves and caverns drear, which well to know ye must yourselves be there. And if for pebbles you have any taste, search on the sands, and don't be in haste. Agates, cornelians has this shore produced, which, as bright gems, have gentle ladies used. And so on that pleasant beachcombing note, we'll leave the Rev Thomas Stephen until the next time. We'll close with a midsummer bonfire, Tansis Galawan, set ablaze for us by Cornish band Bala. The Manannan Festival is taking place at the Oran Arts Centre from tomorrow, Monday the 27th of June, through to Saturday the 2nd of July. Tomorrow evening, Ruth Kegan and Rachel Hare will be there, previewing their album Lothan, and they'll be joined by Isla Collister. And the final concert on Saturday the 2nd of July will be with superb singer Christine Collister, and lots of goodies in between. And speaking of goodies, from 7 to 9 you can enjoy the best of chill-out music with Chris Pearson, and then at 9 Judith Lay presents Sundown Through into Monday morning. Our Cartnish, Dera and Nachie, Chene was Claare na Gael. And so until the next time, this is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Oh, Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night. Eve I'm a Crieriu, as Orselier, as my Yeri and shared you will you.